So now we have a relatively honest account of what happened that day. Deshaun over here acknowledges that for really no good reason he was teasing Jason, and he teased him more than once. And Jason acknowledges that he slapped him, didn't punch him, didn't pummel him, he slapped him on the face. His head pretty much accidentally hit a pole. That wasn't the intention. And then Deshaun hit him in the shoulder. Miss Mayfield, you want Miss Dudley to pay your medical bills for your son, right?
Correct.
Now, when were you notified that your son was hurt?
Well, actually what happened around 2:15, I was approximately maybe 5 minutes late from getting him. I pulled up. I have a newborn baby that was in the car. And I sat there for about 20 minutes waiting for Deshaun to come out of school. School was over when this incident happened. And Deshaun didn't come, so I picked up my cell phone and I called into the school to find out where my son was. I was notified that he was in the nurse's office, that the nurse had come to get him and brought him into her office, and they would be coming out. Well, Deshaun and the nurse came out, and the nurse gave me a suggestion to take him to the doctor. He, had vomited, nausea, whatever. At that time, I went to take the baby back to my house, which is just around the corner, so my daughter could watch him, and I could take Deshaun to emergency to get him checked out. Well, I noticed her car on my way out, and she lives next door. So I went to talk to her. Basically, all I would have ever needed was an apology or I'm sorry. All I want is what the emergency visit was. She agreed for me to submit a bill to her. I did do that through certified mail. I got a couple of phone calls from Mrs. Dudley, and she was very rude, arrogant, no tact.
And your bill was $99. Can I see the bill?
It.
Can I see the bill, please?
Yes.
Okay.
She asked me about my insurance. I told her that I was going to get this done private pay.
Why?
Where they get the bill. Here's the bill, an actual bill.
Why didn't you submit the bill to your insurance company?
Well, I told her that I was going to submit the bill to her because she said that she would pay it.
Why didn't you submit the bill to your insurance company? That's what you pay insurance for, is my question.
I didn't do that. I just took him to emergency.
No, I'm asking you a question. But that seems to me, if you have health insurance, that would have covered this $99 because it was an emergency visit. Why didn't you submit the bill to your insurance company?
I just took him. And I have a doctor's statement here.
All right, take a look at it. Okay, the first thing here is a lie. It said this is a 7-year-old child who was hit by an older kid with a fist. You never hit him with a fist, right?
Mm-mm.
And he never hit you with a fist, is that right, Deshaun?
No.
No, he slapped you.
Your Honor, could we possibly ask the kids how hard did he hit him? I'm not quite sure, but for his head to hit a steel pole, I'd just like to know how hard.
How do you gauge that? Hard, very hard, medium soft? How do you gauge that? He certainly didn't punch him.
No, I'm not saying that he did.
He didn't punch him. There is nothing in this report that indicates that anything's wrong with him.
No, thank goodness he's okay.
Nothing. And I have a couple of questions for you. I'm not excusing him putting his hands on your son. Okay. You can't do that. What kind of punishment did you give to your son?
For teasing?
Yes.
Oh, me and his dad set him down, and we told him that that is not a proper thing to do.
Absolutely right.
No, most definitely. I don't condone it at all.
Absolutely right. Put your hand down. You paying attention?
Yeah.
This whole thing wouldn't have started if you hadn't started to tease Jason, right?
Yes.
Why were you teasing him?
I was just playing with him.
No, he wasn't happy about it. You knew he wasn't happy about it, right?
No.
This is not the first incident that has ever happened with Jason or Sean having problems, okay? I stopped him from coming to the house. My husband and I, we never discussed with Sean why he could not come into the house any longer by being disruptive and doing things. We just kind of just let the kids play outside whenever they met outside. He had no idea that Jason and him were no longer friends per se. He was still...
But he knew he couldn't come into the house.
Yes, he was aware that I did not want him to come into the house.
So that he knew. Yes. Kids are smarter than you think. If you say that Jason can't come into the house, they know that there's a reason. You can play with him outside, but he can't come into the house. Put your hands down! What do you think, you're at the beach?
No.
Judge-year-old Deshaun Jenkins says 11-year-old Jason Dudley smacked him in the head, causing a concussion. Jason says Deshaun was teasing him about a girl.
Have you had any other difficulty with Jason in school?
No.
No.
We've been neighbors for over 2.5 years, Your Honor. Okay, we never had any problems whatsoever. I didn't know that she had not allowed Jason to come over to the house because they were still playing. We live right across from the park, so they still play together out in the park. So I had no incidents or no knowledge whatsoever that she had forbidden. She never talked to me about it whatsoever. When she came to my house and asked me to pay for the emergency room bill, I told her no, I was not going to pay for it. Okay, so what I did was I followed her to the emergency room to find out, make sure she got to the emergency room. I followed her there. I sat in that emergency room while she fed her son Dorito potato chips on the same side of the mouth where she claims Jason had injured. So to me, it wasn't that severe. If she felt that he had a concussion.
He didn't have a concussion.
Right. Okay.
He didn't have a concussion. He had nothing wrong. He hit his head. He hit his head, and this whole thing was blown way out of proportion. That's what I think. The whole thing was blown way out of proportion.
I totally agree.
What had to happen is that these two young boys, now you can stand up next to your mother. These two young boys should be put together in one room with their parents in a coordinated effort, and in front of Jason, Sean has to be told, you don't tease other people, it's not nice.
True.
It makes them feel badly, and sometimes they don't react to it well. Sometimes they'll let it roll off their backs. You know what that means?
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll get very frustrated, and the only way that some people know how to react in a frustrated way is to use their hands, which you can't do. So that if he was teasing you, you have to turn around and say to him, that's a stupid thing to say, and walk away. But you don't use your hands, because using your hands, you look like a strong voice, you can get in trouble. Right?
Right.
You had no out-of-pocket expenses, Miss Mayfield, because I find that you didn't do the right thing by not submitting this bill to your insurance company, which would have paid the entire bill. You wanted to prove a point.
It's just the principle.
It's not the principle of the thing. That, you know, this happens with children all the time.
It has happened before.
I don't know what's happened before. What I'm telling you is this incident is an incident that was precipitated by your son. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It was just the principle for me, and I'm basically happy that the judge had to inform this child that it is not the right thing to do to put his hands on another no matter what.
Learn not to tease people.
Not to hit people in the jaw.
I think that kids will be kids, and I hope that they could play together eventually someday.
And now the next case.
All parties on Brunner versus Coley Jones. Step forward, please.
12-year-old Sherry Brunner and her mother, 48-year-old daycare provider Lori Brunner, says Sherry was discriminated against by Junior Football League commissioners Calvin Coley and John Jones.
Is your claim that your daughter, I assume this daughter, was the victim of gender discrimination by the defendants when she was cut from the football team?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what this is all about.
Yes.
Tell me your first name.
Sherry.
What happened to your leg?
I had surgery.
For what?
I had a birthmark that was supposed to be cancerous.
When did you have that surgery?
August 11th.
Okay. Sherry, when for the first time did you try out for the football team?
I think it was 98.
Is this a school football team?
No.
A league?
Yes.
And were the defendants the coaches at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, did you play at all the first year?
The first year, yes.
How many other women were on the team?
No one. I was
Just
the only
you?
one.
Do you like football?
Yes, I do.
And you got to play.
Yes.
When were there supposed to be the tryouts for the second year?
I think August.
Now, according to what I've read, Sherry, they have something that the defendants call Hell Week.
Right.
You know what that is?
Yes, I do.
Tell me what it is.
For a whole week that you do drills, push-ups, running, all that kind of stuff. It's like what you really don't want to do.
And everybody does that.
Yes.
But you didn't.
The first week, because I was at...
First week.
Right.
Tell me why you didn't go.
Because I was at New York visiting my grandma.
Did you discuss that with your coaches?
I discussed that with JJ, and he
Who's
said...
JJ?
I'm JJ.
Okay, you told JJ that you were not going to be there for Hell Week?
Right. And he said that that would be no problem.
How long did you spend with your grandmother?
For about 2 months.
So you were in New York the entire summer vacation?
Yes.
And when did you have to be back in school?
September 1st.